What is up, guys? So, my first YouTube video. Pretty excited about it. Getting this going, doing this for you guys. I think it's better coming over here. You guys can check out the videos whenever you want instead of just, for 24 hours. I really dig that. And, I'm happy to be bringing this to you guys. We're doing my awards right now, 2018 awards. We're gonna kick it off. This first one is for upset of the year. Now I want to break down how I factor in the upset of the year. So first, it's more about, for me, it's more about doing an upset is a big deal, but it also is the fight itself, going into the fight, how big of an underdog you are, how you beat the favorite matters, who the favorite was, stuff like that. A lot of that factors into my upset of the years. Now, what I do, and this is all my awards, is I handed out an upset for each division. And then if there was division, I'm going to break down, didn't make my top five, my finalists, and then I'm going to give you my finalists from 5 to 1 is how I'm doing that. So that's how I'm going to do all my awards, and I really hope people are really into this and they enjoy it. I'm super excited to be on YouTube now and having my own channel over here. So, leave your comments and everything. Let me know what you guys think. But I'm going to be doing the awards. I got 10 different awards I'm going to do. And then I'm going to get into my year-end top 10s, start breaking down the divisions. So over the next couple weeks, I'm going to be doing a lot of posts, a lot of videos. So I hope everybody will check them out and see what it is, see what it's all about. So let's start with, like I said, the upset of the year. Let's kick it off and look at we're going to look at the ones that did not make the finalists, did not make the list. We'll start with 130-pound division. My upset of the year was Masayuki Ito defeating Christopher Diaz for the vacant WBO title. Now, coming into this fight, Diaz was he was the hot prospect of Top Rank. He was a favorite Puerto Rican fighter. He was fighting for the vacant belt, and it looked like he was a shoe-in to win the title. He was fighting pretty much in a second home of Florida. A dominant Puerto Rican fan base down there was ready to see him become a world champion for his first time. Ito is a Japanese fighter, not really well known, and Ito pretty much has dominated him, from start to finish. He even put him down in the fourth round. And this was just a big win for Ito and a big surprise off of a highly regarded prospect. This wasn't one of my finalists because, Diaz was, like I said, a highly regarded prospect, but he hadn't really beaten anybody yet. So, these kind of things happen, and Ito is a new world champ because of it. So congratulations to him and on winning just for this division, even though he didn't get in as a finalist. A good job of winning for the division. Next, we'll go to lightweight, which is 135 pounds. My upset of the year over there was Jose Pedraza's 12-round unanimous decision over Ray Beltran. Going into this fight, it looked like it was going to be Beltran winning, retaining his belt, and moving on to face Vasily Lomachenko in a unification bout in December. Beltran's a Mexican veteran, good, tough fighter, 36 years old, coming in. I don't really think Pedraza was a world champ at 130, but got his ass whipped against Gervonta Davis. Now, I wasn't that surprised that Pedraza beat him, but I did pick Beltran to win this fight. I just thought it was going to be close, but yeah, Beltran came out, and it was a close fight through 10. Pedraza didn't dominate him, but in the 11th round, he put Beltran down, and he really turned it up in the championship rounds right there, and that earned him the win. And he captured the WBO belt, and it led to a showdown with Lomachenko. So this was a big-time upset because, the winner was guaranteed a unification bout with Loma later in the year, which, even if you lose that kind of fight, that's still a career kind of fight for somebody. And Beltran, like I said, he looked like a shoe-in, and he just, he got beat. He got outworked. He's an older fighter now and, a lot more susceptible to being hit. So congrats to Pedraza on getting that big upset. That was a good one. The upset of the year at 140 was Josh Taylor over Victor Postol, his unanimous decision. Postol was number 1 or number 2 at the time, but because 140 is such a wide open division, Josh Taylor, he wasn't necessarily coming in as I think he was fighting at home in his backyard of Scotland. So of course people were predicting him to win this fight because he was fighting at home, but he was only like 11 or 12 fights in at the time. So Postol was a seasoned veteran. Only guy that had beaten him was Terrence Crawford, and it was by a decision. He's still the last guy to go 12 rounds with Crawford. And so, going into the fight, I thought Postol had a very big time win, pretty good size upset right there. So congrats to Taylor on getting that one. Didn't make it in as a finalist, and I think part of the reason why was just because, Postol, even though it was an upset, he hadn't fought anybody big since Crawford, and that was pretty much 2 years before. And also, I don't think people were so surprised because he really was I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. He was fighting at home. So, you're not really surprised when a guy is at home, especially in the United Kingdom, and he gets a win, even whether he wins or not. So, I don't think people were really surprised by that. Now we'll move up to welterweight at 147. The upset of the year, I had to dig deep. There wasn't a lot of big ones, but it was Francisco Santana's 10-round majority decision over Felix Diaz. Diaz was a top 5, top 6 fighter at junior welterweight 140. In 2017, he actually went 10 rounds with Crawford. He fought hard, but he got beat. Crawford is just better, one of the pound for pound best. But they did the WBC set up a tournament, an 8-man tournament, and Diaz was coming in as the number 1 seed heading in, and Francisco Santana was the number 10 or the number 8 seed going in. So, nobody thought Diaz was a favorite to win the whole tournament, and Santana came in and beat him by a majority decision. So, we don't know where that's going to lead, but that's a big win right there over a former world title challenger. Like I said, he was a legitimate fighter. That was that. I had to dig deep because there was 154, the upset of the year. This almost was a finalist. It was Tony Harrison's 12-round unanimous decision over Jermell Charlo. This was a big upset here. I don't think a lot of people saw this one coming, but I wasn't surprised that Harrison got the win. But it was a very close fight. It was a controversial fight, but Charlo was a shoe-in to win and get a unification bout with Jarrett Hurd next year. And this kind of just spoiled all the plans. Tony Harrison was a top 10 fighter coming in, but nobody gave him a chance to beat Charlo. I did, but a lot of people weren't giving him a big chance to pull off the win, and he got the win. This was a big-time upset, so congrats to Harrison. The next one, we go to cruiserweight. This was the upset of the year at 200-pound cruiserweight division, and it was Mateusz Masternak's 6-round TKO of Yuri Kalenga. You guys don't know these guys too well, but Kalenga was a top 10 guy. He'd been in the ring with a couple of the best fighters. He was coming off a split decision loss to some South African guy named Kevin Lerena. And he had already beaten Masternak a few years earlier by a split decision. So I thought this was a good bounce back fight for Kalenga. Maybe, lead to a title shot or something. And Masternak came in, got revenge, stopped him in the 6th round, and which was an upset. And it actually led to Masternak getting into the World Boxing Super Series Season 2. Now, he lost his first fight, but it got him into that by winning this fight. So it was a big deal, and it was an upset. Upset of the year at heavyweight now. This is the last one that did not make the finalist. It's Derek Chisora's 8th round knockout of Carlos Takam. This one, was a big deal. Chisora is a former world title challenger. He's been in a ring with some very good fighters, but he's a second, third tier type heavyweight. And he was coming in against Takam, who was coming off of a strong showing against Anthony Joshua last year in October. And, Takam was winning the fight on points, but Chisora is just a straight brawler and he comes straight forward and tries to knock you out. And he caught Takam with a wicked punch and knocked him out in the 8th round. And it was a very good upset. This was an upset. This led to Chisora getting a rematch with Dillian White, a fight he he could have been winning. I think he was winning on 2 of the scorecards when he got knocked out himself. This was a big deal. It could have led to an Anthony Joshua title shot. And it really keeps Chisora in the discussion of a fighter you might not want to mess with, or a guy to go after, to get to something big. So that this win really leads to bigger fights for Chisora. It was a good upset. There wasn't a lot of other top 10 guys, big names that got, which is why this is not a finalist at heavyweight, but it was a good upset. Now we're going to look at the top 5. Now my top 5 finalists for upset of the year. We're going to take a look at those. Number 5 is Emmanuel Navarrete's 12-round unanimous decision over Isaac Dogboe for the WBO Super Bantamweight title. This is the best at 122. This fight just happened in December. Dogboe had came out of nowhere in April and knocked out Jesse Magdaleno, which was an upset in itself. But he really had taken over the division as the number 1 fighter. Entertaining as hell. It came back in August and scored a first-round knockout over a solid Japanese contender. And, Navarrete was his mandatory defense, and it was his first time fighting in the United States. He was coming to Madison Square Garden. Dogboe was just, fighting on the Lomachenko undercard. A lot of people just felt Dogboe was a shoo-in to win. And he came out and just beat Dogboe down for 12 rounds. It was a good fight early, but he took over around the middle rounds and never took his foot off the gas pedal. And he really beat up Dogboe, got a nice decision, and became the new world champion and is in consideration for the top of the division now. So this was a big-time upset. So congrats to Navarrete on this win. Finishing number 4 was Callum Smith's 7th-round knockout of George Groves. This was at super middleweight. This was the finals of the World Boxing Super Series Season 1 at 168 pounds. Now, some people might not see this as an upset, but I do, because Groves was the number 1 fighter in the division coming in. He was also the number 1 seed in the tournament. Callum Smith was the number 2 seed. He was undefeated, but he hadn't beaten anybody. He really hadn't. To be honest, I had him tied for 10th coming into this fight. And Groves was the favorite, and it was a close, even fight, and he knocked him out, and it was a good, solid win. He left no doubt. I thought the fight was going to be close. It was close when the knockout happened, but it was an emphatic knockout. It was a big-time knockout over the number 1 guy in the division. And, it may not be a huge knockout to some people, upset, but I think it was a pretty big upset considering, what it was. And you guys should definitely go back and see this, because it was a good fight, and it was the finals of the World Boxing Super Series. Number 3 was Josh Warrington's 12-round unanimous decision over Carl Frampton. This was the featherweight upset of the year. This fight just happened here at the end of December. This was a big-time upset because, and it's funny when a champion pulls off an upset. Warrington won the title from Lee Selby, but going in against Frampton was the number 2 guy at featherweight, and you could argue for number 1, because he beat Santa Cruz, but Santa Cruz beat him in their second fight. So, but Frampton was rolling. He was having a good year. He was 2-0 in the year so far, and he looked like a shoe-in to win the featherweight title. And, Warrington had beaten Lee Selby to win the IBF title, but so I think a lot of people were thinking that Frampton, I myself thought Frampton was going to easily outbox this guy and take it, and he just went in there and outworked Frampton in a great fight. Frampton competed, but it was a lot like Santa Cruz and Mares. To every 2 punches that Frampton would land, it seemed like Warrington would land 4 or 5, and he just could not keep up with them, and he outworked them and beat Frampton up, and it was a really good win. That is the upset of the year, number 3 upset of the year. Now, the number 2 upset of the year was Rob Brandt's 12-round unanimous decision over Ryota Murata to win the WBA middleweight regular title. Now, again, this is another one, but Murata was a highly regarded middleweight. He was ranked 5th or 6th by most people. I had him 6th at the time at middleweight, but middleweight's the number 1 division or number 2 division in boxing. Very good division. So for people to, I get you didn't know it, but this guy was being talked. Murata was going to be Triple G's next opponent. After Triple G lost to Canelo, a lot of people were saying Murata was going to defend this version of his belt against Triple G next, and he was going against Rob Brandt. The only reason I knew Brandt's name was because he competed in the World Boxing Super Series at 168 last year in the quarterfinals, and he lost. And he lost convincingly to a former two-division champ that not a lot of people know, a German fighter. So, you know, he came back down to middleweight. This was a mandatory shot. I don't know how it was a mandatory against Murata, and he absolutely whipped Murata's ass. I mean, for all 12 rounds, he dominated Murata convincingly, outboxing him, outclassing him, easy win. And he's signed with Top Rank now. It led to him signing with Top Rank. And there's even talks that he could be facing Triple G next. You know, you just don't know yet. But this was a big time win. Murata also, even though if people didn't know him, he was an Olympic gold medalist too. This is a real deal fighter right here. You know, it was Ryota Murata, and he got his ass whipped by just unknown guy, American Rob Brandt. So Brandt has really thrown himself into the mix at 160, and it was a big time win. Now the upset of the year in all of boxing for me, my pick is Eleider Alvarez's 7th round TKO of Sergey Kovalev to win the light heavyweight title. Some people might not see this as an upset because Alvarez was a top contender, an undefeated top contender. Yes, he was. Yeah, but to come in against a guy like Kovalev, who's for the last 5 years has just been an absolute beast. The only guy that beat him was Andre Ward. And the first fight, Ward did not win that fight. I'm sorry. There's no way he deserved that decision. Excuse me. And the second fight, he just broke down Kovalev's body and beat him. But Ward's a pound-for-pound great Hall of Fame fighter. So Kovalev, nobody saw this coming. I thought this was a good opponent for him to face in terms of talent. But I felt like Kovalev was going to roll over Alvarez. And he just never really took over the fight. He was winning the fight on points, Kovalev was, and outworking him. But Alvarez kept landing shots, surprising shots. And he showed that Kovalev's susceptible to getting hit now more and more. And, man, what an overhand right that he caught him with to put him down the first time, and then just rolled and steamrolled him into the 7th. 2 more times and stopped them. Great win right there for Alvarez. Upset, became world champ. Now he signed a contract with Top Rank. Now he's fighting Kovalev again. He gets a chance to prove that it wasn't that big of an upset, but we'll see. But man, big time win right here. You got to give it to him. Really impacted the sport. And the fact that not was a surprise because Alvarez is not known to be a huge power puncher. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. Again, hopefully later today, I'll be coming back with the most controversial decision of the year. I'm going to do that one. And I'm going to break it down the same way. So I hope you enjoyed this. Please watch this. Like it, whatever. I hope you do. And I will talk to you guys later. Have a good one.